Welcome to the psychedelic renaissance. It is so full throttle right now, and that's super exciting. But there's a lot of misconceptions in the psychonaut space that especially apply to the relationship of organic plant medicines like ayahuasca, mushrooms, in comparison to the synthetic medicines like synthetic psilocybin or DMT that has either been created in a lab or synthetically manipulated, essentially chemically extracted. A lot of people have this kind of erroneous idea that psychedelics are psychedelics. Like, it doesn't really matter. Everything has consciousness, and there is some truth to that. But there's one aspect in particular about working with synthetic medicines. Actually, I'm going to bring up two aspects in particular that make them very dangerous for the uninitiated and unaware. Aspect number one of what makes synthetics more challenging and dangerous than organic medicines is the notion that when we work with them, we become disconnected from our bodies. We are disembodied, because if you think about the fact that our bodies are of the earth, they are organic. When we work with synthetic medicines, they almost always create a disconnection from our physical spaces, which means we get to travel the cosmos, we get to engage with entities and spirits and beings and aliens, and all of that is incredible and very real to me. But without the component of embodiment that keeps us tethered to the organic home that we live in, we can become more and more dissociated, more and more disconnected from our heart and intuition, and more stuck in the space of the mind, which I think we can all can agree is one of the last things that our culture needs, is to be yet more trapped into the prison of the mind. Now, I realize this might be contradictory, because on the one hand, psychedelic synthetics medicines like DMT are incredibly mind expensive. Yes, you can go on these journeys and have these cosmic adventures, but without the embodiment piece, they are likely not to be profoundly healing or integrated in that way. And I say likely because anything is possible, because we can embody something that is cosmic, but it's not common. And I know this in the psychedelic integration practice that I do, is a lot of people working with synthetics are very mentally associated, identified, because organic medicines help connect us more to the body, more so than synthetics. So that's issue number one, is how they essentially detach us even further from the wisdom of our bodies and the wisdom of our hearts. The second piece is that when you work with an organic medicine, there is a tour guide. There is a very clear spiritual presence, a personality, if you will. Ayahuasca versus wachuma versus mushrooms versus iboga. These beings, all of the entheogens, they are sentient. They have very clear personas, ways of working that are different from each other. And they're amazing that way. Synthetic medicines, it's not as if they don't have consciousness, because everything does, but they don't have a tour guide in the same way. You, the psychonaut, the person taking the medicine, is the tour guide. So it's kind of like being on an airplane where you're both the passenger and you're the pilot. This is not impossible. It can be incredible, to get to hold that responsibility, but you got to own it, because without that maturity, that ability to drive the experience, as it were, you can get thrown around, traumatized, disembodied, you name it, because there isn't anybody driving the bus. You could be taken to a part of the cosmic galaxy or multiverse that perhaps is very scary and traumatizing and not where you wanted to go. But if you don't have the capacity to drive the experience, which comes from training, comes from just pure sitting with medicines, then it can be a really rough go of it. So if you're a solo psychonaut kind of journeyer, which is beautiful, just have the commitment to learning some tools, having some items on your altar, like ways in which you can navigate those psychedelic spaces that creates a sense of groundedness, strength in the unpredictability and intensity. Otherwise, these experiences can become traumatic rather than insightful and healing, which is kind of against what it is that most of us are called to experience by doing these medicines. So, to bring it all full circle, wholeheartedly, I recommend, at least in the beginning, everybody be more committed to working with organic medicines, having a tour guide that is guiding the space. Synthetics have their time and place, and in some cases, synthetics are preferable to organic medicines. But please don't lump them all in the same category, and please don't have this false sense of bravado that if you handled DMT, you can handle ayahuasca, because they are not the same thing, and you will be humbled eventually. So thank you so much for listening. I wish you all safe and incredibly insightful and enjoyable cosmic journeys. Much love until next time. Please follow us. Plantmedicinepeople.com is our home for more of this content, and you can learn more about the retreats and things we have to offer there too. Much love.